Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and now you're all having a great day. I wanted to talk a bit about Bitcoin ETFs. I know it may not be the most exciting thing in the world to talk about, especially when it comes to cryptocurrencies, but I think something very big is going to happen relatively soon when it comes to ETFs. And not even that is my opinion. These are, when this does end up happening, it's actually going to be the proper golden ticket for the not only the Bitcoin community, for the cryptocurrency community as well, because it'll allow a floodgate of things to happen. So without further ado, while there have been numerous failed attempts at a Bitcoin ETF to date, the latest application from CBOE Global Markets may have its best chance yet. On June 26th, the SEC received an application for a Bitcoin ETF, or an exchange-traded fund, filed by the CBOE Global Markets, who have proposed to partner with Van Eck Investment and SolidX. The SEC published the application to invite comments from the public. The CBOE plans to offer clients to buy shares in SolidX, which are currently worth approximately 25 Bitcoin. Meanwhile, the fund itself will acquire Bitcoin in over-the-counter fashion. The ETF, under normal market conditions, will use available offering proceeds to purchase Bitcoin, primarily in the OTC markets, so the over-the-counter markets, without being leveraged or exceeding relevant position limits, the document reads. It would also provide insurance coverage to clients underwritten by various insurance carriers against any potential loss or theft of the Bitcoin, i.e. private keys held by the ETF. The document explains, and I do quote, "The insurance policy will carry initial limits of $25 million in primary coverage and $100 million in excess coverage, with the ability to increase coverage depending on the value of the Bitcoin held by the trust," end quote. It's not the first time the CBOE, one of the world's largest holding companies, has attempted to get approval for a Bitcoin ETF. The last rejection occurred in March, despite CBOE Global Markets President Chris Concannon writing a direct letter to the SEC. Think about that. To alleviate some of the concerns about investing in cryptocurrencies such as low liquidity, he said, and I do quote, "While cryptocurrency-related holdings do raise a number of unique issues, CBOE firmly believes that such holdings do not require significant revision to the well-established frameworks for valuation related to valuation, liquidity, custody, arbitrage, and manipulation," end quote. Last month, Bitwise Asset Management's global head of exchange-traded products, John Hyland, noted that some clarity from the SEC would be required to boost the chances of seeing a Bitcoin ETF sooner rather than later. So what a lot of people don't get about ETFs is that one of the major things about them, unlike the futures markets, where we had a lot of hype around the futures markets, and then we've had a lot of news the last 5 or 6 months that the futures market actually caused the cryptocurrency market to crash, simply because people were able to hedge against or bet against the entire cryptocurrency market in betting against Bitcoin. Not to even talk about futures in this, but when it comes to ETFs, what's interesting about these ETFs in particular is that they will be physical Bitcoin ETFs, in that where you are trading futures, you are trading documents back and forth. You can write on a piece of paper that you think that within 3 months, the price of Bitcoin will be $150 if everyone else agrees with you. Then eventually there's some way to profit from this. But with the ETFs that are being proposed by the CBOE, the CBE, I believe NASDAQ as well, and the Winklevoss twins along with them, is that these will be physical Bitcoin ETFs, in that the funds itself will be backed by physical Bitcoin, meaning that in order to have one of these funds, or all of the ETFs that have been proposed, you would need to back up your fund by buying Bitcoin. What's interesting about that is that when you finally have one of these that are allowed by the SEC that says, okay, you can definitely go and do this, is going to create a domino effect unlike anything that we've ever seen in our entire lives. Because we need proper clarity from the SEC once again about what these things are and about who can do what and when can happen, where, why, so and so. But the same, it's a little different. It's kind of, long story short, when they do allow for Bitcoin ETFs to be made, and the people who are, who are approved for it is the CBOE or the NASDAQ or even the Winklevoss twins, it's going to create an effect where everyone is going to start dumping their Bitcoin ETF proposals into the SEC, and eventually, not all of them, a large portion of them will start to be accepted, And when this then happens, these are all physical Bitcoin ETFs, and they're going to start buying Bitcoin. When these ETFs are approved, the CBOE is not going to just buy 55 Bitcoin and then call it a day. They're probably going to be buying hundreds of millions of dollars worth of these in order to back up their fund, especially as more money goes into the fund and they have more liquidity and more money in order to buy more Bitcoin to back up their fund. There are potentially tens of thousands of companies and organizations and hedge funds and mutual funds and retirement funds and 401ks. Those are also retirement funds who are going to then start their own, whether it be them simply holding Bitcoin in order to back up their retirement funds or to start their own ETF that would then also be physically holding the Bitcoin. This is going to be one of the craziest things in the entire world, and I'm going to show you exactly. I wasn't able to find. I tried looking for a list of all the formally rejected ETFs that have been proposed, and there have been a lot of them, but I did find all of the headlines over the last couple of years. I'm not going to read through the entire articles, but I will read you some of the things that they write. I think is very interesting. Whenever Bitcoin has like a bad day of the cryptocurrency market, they make that is traditional news companies. They make sure to grind us into the ground. They make sure that we know our place and it's beneath their boot. So without further ado, this one says, SEC blocks Bitcoin ETFs again, rejected Winklevoss bid in 2017. What the U.S. can learn from Sweden about how to launch a Bitcoin ETF. The SEC has rejected all Bitcoin ETFs filings to date, which is interesting. What I did not know is that the Sweden actually has had Bitcoin ETFs for around 2 years, if that doesn't make you angry. Industry speaks out in aftermath of Bitcoin ETF rejection as if it was like a big, like horrible thing. SEC rejects Bitcoin ETFs. Should you reject Bitcoin investments? Bitcoin ETFs hit regulatory roadblock. U.S. regulators reject Bitcoin ETF. Digital currency plunges. Breaking. ETF denied. Bitcoin price drops from $1,350 to $980 within hours. Winklevoss Bitcoin ETF has been rejected by the SEC. And Bitcoin plummets 18% as SEC rejects Winklevoss ETF proposal. The Winklevoss twins have been trying out. I don't hate them. I don't know them enough to hate them. I don't care for some of their practices, but I will give it to them. They have made sure that they are trying to protect their investment as much as possible, because the moment anyone gets approval for a Bitcoin ETF, it's completely going to hit the wall. Told you guys many times before, the Winklevoss twins are noted as having said around 2014 that they own around 1% of all Bitcoin in existence, so they will have the most to profit from all of this. But this is kind of one of the, there are many things that is supposed to set off the cryptocurrency market, whether it be institutional investors, whether it be the Lightning Network, whether it be Plasma or Casper, all these other things that we've been talking about. But the Bitcoin ETF would literally be the largest thing that could possibly happen. It would be beyond what a golden ticket actually is. The oldest thing that I was actually able to find, and I think it's actually kind of sad that it's actually even taken this long. It says Winklevoss twins plan NASDAQ listing for Bitcoin ETF in new SEC filing. This is an article from 2014, which means that it's actually taken over 4 years at this point, and every single SEC filing for Bitcoin ETFs has been rejected. At some point, they're going to have to let one through, especially as other countries are already allowing Bitcoin ETFs, and it's not just Sweden, it's happening all over the place. So the SEC will eventually do it. It's just a matter of kind of when. This is why this article even reads by 2019. It's kind of, everyone thinks that by 2019, once we have proper regulatory blah, 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 that will then have a Bitcoin ETF in 2019. But if we can get news in 2018 about an approval for, even if it's something 6 months down the line, this is going to completely set off. And this isn't anything, how we've had a lot of other predictions for the market. This is actually something that if we get approval for Bitcoin ETF, the market is going to literally go insane, because it is going to, told you guys before in another video when we went through the numbers and stuff like that about how many Bitcoin are actually circulating. Somewhere between 1 and 2 million Bitcoin are actually circulating, and that is other people are either holding them, not selling them, they're lost, and they're in the space, they're in the cloud, wherever they might be. There's going to be a lot, even shorter amount of Bitcoin that are going to be floating around when major companies are spending $50 million per year to buy more Bitcoin in order to have into their fund. it's going to be a fun time. So just thought I'd make a little video about this situation because this is going to happen. It's just a matter of when. So let's cross our fingers that we still get some good news sometime in July. It would be great if we had regulatory clarification in July. That's now. And also, if we also get approval for Bitcoin ETF sometime in July as well. If you are listening to this in December 2018, write in the comment section below and tell me exactly what's going on, because I've seen people posting before in my older videos talking about how I was wrong, or other things that I was reading out were definitely not correct. No one knows the future, but it's kind of fun to at least speculate on the future of cryptocurrencies. All right, everyone. That is definitely going to do it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys have a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. Thank you once again for watching and or listening. Do appreciate all the support, and I will talk to you all soon. See you.